There's an island in Wales called Anglesey, where darkness lurks in caves, and great green sea swirls in and out in big, high, peaky waves. There's a small beach there, a pebble shore, and it's completely full of things. Old tin cans and plastic bottles, things that should be in bins. Every midnight, under the moon, something comes ashore, bringing old packets and pots and things, and then it brings some more. Now, there was so much rubbish that a lighthouse keeper whose name was Salty Tom decided to stay awake all night to see where it all came from. So he pitched up his tent under twinkling stars and he made a flask of tea. He winked at his dog, whose name was Slick, and he said, "Shh, let's wait and see." They waited and they waited just inside the opening of the cosy tent. They watched and stared, and their eyes grew heavy. So off to sleep they went. The morning came. Salty Tom awoke. "Oh no, we missed it. We fell asleep." And Slick ran off and barked out loud and splashed out in the deep. Tom watched him swimming and he scratched his head. He said, "What's out there in the silvery sea? You see, all this rubbish, it comes from somewhere. Is it a boat? What could it be?" And as Slick came running out of the water, shaking his soaking wet coat, he suddenly stopped and chewed on something that nearly went down his throat. The dog was coughing. It was stuck in his jaw. Tom ran. "Give it to your old friend." Slick opened his mouth and something fell out, and the coughing soon come to an end. The thing was black with shiny edges, a bit like a beetle's back. It had something rattling around inside, but it wasn't a doggy snack. "Aha," said Tom. "Someone's lost their purse, and now we'll know just who has been laying rubbish upon this beach, because this time we'll be here too." At dusk, Salty Tom and his little dog promised they'd stay awake all night. And when the moonlit hour of midnight came and Slick, he had a great fright. But Tom, he was a man all about the sea, and he knew every tide and cliff. And he knew as well, after all these years, that mermaids were not a myth. Under the moon, as the wave crashed by, a purple tail first appeared. It glistened gently in the cool starlight, and through his tent Tom peered. He said, "Shh," he told Slick. "Don't bark a wolf. We don't want her to see us just yet. We need to catch her in the act, so don't do anything we'll regret." She splashed with her hair of seaweed string, blowing gently in the spray. She glided in and out of whirly waves until she reached the bay. She had a fishing wet sort of shoulder bag with the things that bother old Tom, a spade, a jam jar and a car tyre too, and he shouted, "Oi! Where are these from?" The mermaid looked up. Tom ran down to the shore where the ocean met with the sand. He said, "I have a little something of yours, but first I have a demand." "What is it that you have of mine?" she asked, feeling quite befuddled. "And what's your demand, I wonder too? If you think I'll obey, you're muddled." Well, Tom stamped about and said, "Look at this! This mess is getting worse. If you promise to take your rubbish back, I'll give you back your purse." "My purse, she said. Oh, well, I'm glad of that. I've been looking all over for it. But if it's a choice between that and this old junk, well, you can keep it in your pocket. Tom said, "You'll take this stuff away right now, these pots and old cans of beer. This rubbish is ruining my beautiful shore and I've had it up to here." The mermaid swished her seaweed hair and splashed her lustrous tail. She laid out more rubbish on the sand on top of a crumpled old sail, and she said, "A purse doesn't mean that much to me, but I'll tell you what makes me fume. It's when humans finish with silly old stuff and leave it in my living room. I've had plastic beads between my toes, a toaster in my coral reef, a bike in my bedroom upon my shell bed, and a ring pull between my teeth. So, I'm giving it all back to humans. Now that's no crime, now is it? Because lobster friends and fish and whales have all stopped coming to visit." Salty Tom looked at the sea he loved, and Slick barked at him from behind. "You're right," he sighed, and he gave back the purse. "I'm sorry for being unkind." She accepted the purse and the apology and gave a pearl-white smile. She said, "Will you do something about all of this? It's been going on for a while." He got a bin bag and he picked it all up and he told her, "Bring more, feel free." And nightly he collected the mermaid's stuff and then they shared some tea. All stayed well on the little pebble shore where the mermaid and the man worked in pairs, and the mermaid told her neighbour friends, "Find a human out there who cares." Pwrs Past and Present is funded by the European Regional Development Fund through the Ireland Wales Cooperation Programme.